All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom. Welcome, 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 everyone. We are live with our program tonight that normally airs on Tuesday, but we're on Monday tonight, and we are live with the book study, "The Fall of America," chapter 36 to 38, by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I have my awesome co-host, Sister Mayat. Peace and blessings, Queen. How are you?
I'm doing fine, and you? Hello, everyone.
All right, all right. So let's see. Let's get this. I need to get my sound squared away. Okay. All right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so let me pull up the screen. All right. So I am ready to go when you're ready, Queen.
All right. Let me jump back over here. So we on chapter 36. It's been a journey. I'm sorry, there was some type of it was like a I don't even know what they call I don't know technical terms, but it was like I could hear myself and it was very loud. I was just saying, yeah, we on chapter 36 and it's been a very long journey. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, very long. Definitely.
And you're pretty much only halfway through. Literally 62 chapters. So we're just going to bust out 36, 37, and 38 tonight.
Okay.
And we begin with four great judgments of America. So here we go.
All
Ready?
right. Ready.
To be plagued with too much rain will destroy property and lives. It swells the rivers and creeks. Too much rain floods cities and towns. Large bodies of water at the ocean shore. Large bodies of water at the ocean shorelines will be made to swell with unusually high waves, dumping billions of tons of water over the now seashore line. Rain destroys property and kills cattle by drowning them in low lands. Rain destroys the hiding places of vicious beasts and reptiles, bringing them out fighting in small towns, in people's homes and farms. Rain weakens and destroys railroads, truck line beds, and bridges. Rain undermines foundations of all types of buildings. Rain makes the atmosphere too heavy with moisture, causing sickness. Wind with rain can bring destruction to towns and cities, bringing various germs, causing sickness to the people. It produces unclean water by the swelling of streams and destroying reservoirs of pure drinking water used for the health of the people. Rain is a destructive army within itself. Hailstones are also a property and life destroyer. Snow is one of the most dreaded plague when it comes in great drifts from 5 to 35 feet. It buries your property and lives. It destroys your highways, your cities, and your concrete and gravel in towns and cities. It puts a great burden of expense upon the cities. It puts a great burden of expense upon the city to repair it. The cave in of roofs of homes, the cutting off of homes, the cutting off of transportation, isolating areas brings about starvation. And communication is destroyed with the icing of communication wires. Snow looks pretty because of its clean look. Almost everything of nature is beautiful, but it can be turned into death and destruction against man. Snow is prophesied to be one of the weapons that God will use against the wicked, America, in Job chapter 38, verse 22 and 23. Hail also is mentioned in the same two verses, where God plainly tells us that he has preserved it against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war. The Holy Quran also teaches us that God used snow, rain, wind, hail, earthquakes, and fire against former wicked people. Is America any better than the people we read about in the history that God destroyed? No, she is not as good. These people were not as wicked as the American people. Earthquakes can destroy towns and cities instantly. America is in the grip of divine judgment. America is in the position toward her once slave, so called Negro, as Pharaoh was, with Israel as his slave. She is in this position because of the injustice done to the American so called Negro slave brought to America over 400 years ago and refuses to let them go free. They only say that you are free, knowing within that you are not able to leave them without anything, but the injustice continues to increase. Now they plan death. I want to highlight that because I definitely want to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
How they plan death. So this God was predicted by the prophets to come to the defense of this people, so-called Negroes, in the last days after they served the enemy for 400 years. The Bible declares, Abraham in Genesis, that God would judge the people to whom his people, Abraham's, would be in bondage. This does not mean Israel. This means the present Black people, the members of their Black nation who have and are fulfilling their prophecy. God, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, will not be defeated. The more evil, deceiving, tricking, and making of false promises to the American so called Negro only increases America's divine chastisement. Doom. America knows that her trouble lies in her mistreatment of the Black man, the so called Negro, but she is too wicked to give up tricking the Negro and deceiving him on false promises. She just cannot stop. The opportunity is too open, and she thinks that there is no one to hinder her. But God has chosen us to be his people, and he delights in fighting the enemy. According to the history of the former people, he delighted himself by going forth against them when they exceeded the limit. So it is with America. They must be separated. America would not agree to see the Negro separated from her until she has suffered divine punishment as Pharaoh suffered. The same thing that other evil nations suffered before them is now coming upon this people. She seeks to keep her slaves robbed of opportunity and wealth. She envies success coming to American Negro free slaves. She charges them high prices to keep them down. She deceives them through a few of what we call Uncle Toms in the political circle, clergy class, and all professional classes. She offers them little favoritism to help her work against their own people, the Black people. But they too will suffer along with the enemy of justice of the poor so called Negro. They must be separated. Envy and hatred are growing between the two people, regardless of their preachings of social integration. They must, the truth must come. What is better than the program you find I have written? I have to read that again. I, what is better? This is in the 19, what is this again? 1950s?
19, yeah, I believe so.
And he's saying, what is better? Now, because remember, we were talking about putting this information in context and thinking about the time period in which he was speaking, which
Mm-hmm.
is even more profound and more prophetic than it is today.
Mm-hmm.
He says, what is better than the program you find I have written?
Exactly.
You too, Black and white, cannot get along in peace since you never have gotten along in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why the white American does not like to talk with you about separation and why he calls separation of the two people, the wrong solution for peace between the people, he knows that it is promised and that God will do it. Then why do they not agree with separating themselves from you and me and we from them? Why are the black man and white man all over the earth now in disagreement with each other to live in peace? Do you know why? Oh, foolish American so called Negro, seek some of this earth that you can call your own to live on in peace. Unite and ask the government for a portion of America. This is what we need, somewhere to live to ourselves and to let the white man live to himself. The two people are not brothers, they are alien to each other. God did not make them brothers to each other. I ask you, my brother and sister, to learn this and learn it quickly and fly for your life to the refuge of Allah. Come, follow me. That's chapter 36.
Perfect, perfect. You know, I did a little look up on these natural disasters, and I wanted to know, you know, or what is the range that America has paid for natural disasters? And it says it has since 1980, and the book was published in 1972. So 1980, 2.9 trillion for natural disasters that America has paid. And then I also wanted it to be broken down. So they have 1.5 trillion in tropical cyclones, 330 billion in drought, 300 billion in severe storms, 150 billion inland flooding, 100 billion wildfires, 75 billion in winter storms. And also, since other countries go through natural disasters, who gets hit the most? And what does that price come to? So America is number one, and major events, multiple, including severe weather, drought, and wildfires. Estimated economic loss, 92.9 billion. Then it went to Turkey and Syria with earthquakes, China with typhoons, Mexico with Hurricane Otis, Libya the storm Daniel, and floods, the Mediterranean. They came next. Then what it focused more clearly, it was saying Hawaii, number one with wildfires. Then Guam, New Zealand, Italy, Libya, Peru, Spain, Myanmar, and Chile. So, you know, just looking at the financial aspects and much of the devastation, because there's been several whole cities that have been wiped out, gone off the map. And when you look back at the news reports and you look at the cities that they show you, you know, you see a lot of white folks,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of white folks crying and, you know, looking for the little baby that was flown out of the house, this thing and that thing. And when we sit back, and for me, when I sit back, I don't be sad because I'm looking at God's justice. I don't be sad. I don't be, oh, it's a shame. Let me give. Let me donate money. Hell no.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they've earned. This is what they've earned. So let them eat everything that they've earned. Even looking at the wildfires over there in California. No, you earned these things. And so for our people, the thing must be, don't live around them. Separate yourself from them so that you don't have to go through what they're going to go through. It talked about, when you were reading, it talked about those political people, those preachers, those professional people who align themselves up with our enemy to continue tricking our people into believing that they have something that they really don't have. They use them to sell this democracy that America works, when the reality is that it doesn't work. This whole what they call experiment on democracy, it just has not worked for us. Not mixing, being in this environment with our most deadliest enemy. It doesn't work. And so, for those who sell that lie, that they are mannequins in the storefront of democracy, selling it, saying it works when it really doesn't. So I don't care. You can be the first Black janitor at UPS. You can be the first Black president of America. You can be the first Black Miss America of America, but it still doesn't work. Mm-hmm. You are a mannequin in the storefront called democracy, that you're wearing clothes that doesn't fit. The reality is it doesn't fit. It doesn't work for us. So we have to do things totally different. We have to have a different mindset, not the same mindset as these professionals who sell the lie that America works, that sell the lie. Well, look, white folks accept me, so they're not bad. They're not racist any longer. Shut the hell up. They are the same no good, dirty bastards as their forefathers were over 6,000 years ago. They're the same. And our people need to really look at that and understand that why is it that with all these other countries out here, America get hit the worst with the natural disasters, with these fires, with the rain, with the wind, everything. America get hit the worst. Judgment. Judgment has come. What's your thoughts?
You know, you have a lot of countries in the Eastern Hemisphere that have a lot of natural disasters as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have flood. Remember that last flood? Wasn't that I think that was in Dubai?
Mm-hmm. Because they was, see, the thing about Dubai, they jackasses, they did that to themselves when they were trying to seed the clouds so they can have rain. They did it to themselves by overseeding it. They did it to themselves. I mean, Lord have mercy. They did it to themselves.
I think it's global in some regards as it relates to natural disasters. It's all over. We've pretty much destroyed Earth. But America definitely has been having natural disasters back to back. And although Black people have been affected, I feel very safe in saying that white America has really gotten the brunt of a lot of the disaster and loss. I mean, they've been losing heavily within the last 2-3 years. And you know, when I think about it, I'm always grateful and thankful. I'm like, oh my, thank you, Lord. It passed me. You know, like, oh, it didn't happen in my community and we made it out. We safe and things of that nature, because was it last year in Carolina? Horrible. I told you, I've been up in those mountains. And to think of the flooding that took place in North Carolina, to be swept away. It's so much water up in those mountains. They got waterfalls and creeks and rivers and lakes. To be swept away over a cliff like that. I still would like to go back and see how many lives were lost, because I haven't even heard anything about that. But between the fires, the flooding, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, white America, they on their tippy toes. They on their tippy toes. They about to tap out. They are really about to tap out. Can you speak on when Elijah Muhammad says they are planning, now they plan death? Besides the jabs and the AIDS, the HIV, and things of that nature, what are some other ways that this country is planning death?
And you're including besides the food.
Oh, okay, food, definitely.
Food. They're killing us with their cancer. They put so many things in that are carcinogens, whether it's in your food or whether it's just in your daily household items that you go to buy, that's in, Dollar General, that's in the Family Dollar, that's in these cheap stores where a lot of our people shop to, trying to save $1, but they're buying things that help to put their death faster.
Mm-hmm.
They're in when you have situations like they had in Baltimore, where they did the lead paint. Everybody knows that. You have lead paint and you're having it around children, you're gonna have some issues. You're gonna have issues. But yet and still, they still on purpose painted some apartments, told Black people, come on, you can live rent free, but never told them that they're studying the effects of lead paint on Black babies, and said you can live here for years free, no rent. All you got to do, if your child ever gets sick, take them to this local clinic and this local clinic only. As long as you do that, you live right here rent free. Now, this is in the modern time. This ain't back in the 60s, 70s, and 50s and 40s. This happened during the 90s. Why do you need to study what you already know? Because the plan to kill our people has never stopped. But they understand that we got to do it, or we have to do it in ways where Black people can be in the same room and we release gases, we release toxins that if Chinese people in the room or white folks in the room, it's not going to bother them. They'll be okay, but it will attack the DNA of Black people. And this is the reality of what we're living in when you're living amongst a people who sit back and plot and plan your destruction on a daily basis. This is the reality of it. Just like as the Pentagon came out with the gay gas, where they were working on it, where if you're on a battlefield and they drop this gas, then you're going to turn into a homosexual. Now, this is not a game. This is not a joke. This is actual facts. Back in the 40s, they were going through, listen, back in the 40s, they were going through Black communities, and they had these trucks that they were spraying in the Black community, claiming we're killing mosquitoes, or, we're doing this, we're giving some lie, some nice face on it. But the reality is that they were killing our people, but not saying exactly what they were doing. This is what they have always been doing to us, unawares. But they're spraying this gas, spraying this stuff in our communities on their trucks, and we not thinking about that, damn, these motherfuckers out here trying to kill us. And we just accepting it because they said this is for mosquitoes, or this is for this, or this is for that, when the reality is, no, this is on you. This is for you. It's just like when they had their forced sterilization programs in the great state of North Carolina and many more, where they were going through and sterilizing Black women and never telling them that they were being sterilized. This is their plan of death and destruction that they have planned for us. Is something that is always in motion. It is something that they work on. But we have to be intelligent and wise, even coming down to what they're putting on TV and making you see to make you rush and run out and go do something that you ain't got no business doing. I mean, let's look at it. When we watch even the movie, what was it? Set It Off. I believe that was the movie where it had the black women robbing banks. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It looked so easy to rob a bank. It looked like you can actually get away with robbing banks. So it supplants in your mind, shit, it was tough, get real tough. I can go rob a bank like they did and get away. I'll just do this differently or I'll do that differently. Because the whole thing is putting implants, putting thoughts in your mind that wasn't there before. But they put them in there now and they water it. They water it so it can make you say, yeah, I'm gonna rob that bank today. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get that lick today. By planting deadly ideas into the mind and knowing that they have made circumstances so that it will water that thought just by you living in America, living as a black person. Why do you think it's for some black men? They won't even, they get off work. They don't rush, let me rush to get home. No, let me rush to get to the liquor store. Let me rush to get to the prostitute. Let me rush to go get this. Let me rush to go get that. Why? Because they make it so tough and you don't find peace at home. So you want to go and get some sort of pleasure, some sort of take your mind away. So by the time when you finally make it home, you so out of your original mind that whatever go on, hey, hell, fuck it. I'm good now. I done smoke my smoke. I done drink my drink, and I'm on zone time. And these things are killing us. They don't put the best alcohol in your community. They put the cheap stuff, the stuff that's laced with carcinogens in your community for you to eat and you to drink. All of this is calculated. All of this is a calculated style of death that has been prescribed to you, to us, by our most deadliest enemy. And only of those who are keen to the time and what must be done, those are the ones that wind up escaping that set of plots and plans till you go to the next set of plots and plans that you get caught up in. This whole lifestyle that they want to dictate to us is a lifestyle of death. And that is the reality. That is a lifestyle of death that we have to come out from.
So while you were talking, I was just taking notes, and I'm just gonna say some of the things that I wrote down. So when we talk about, I always tell people that all death is not physical. And I'm glad that you said deadly ideas. Because when people think of death, it's not necessarily always physical. It could be spiritual, emotional, financial. We can experience various types of death because of the behavior that we exhibit. So in thinking of what Elijah Muhammad said when he said, now they plan death. I wrote music, various forms of entertainment, guns, gangs, genetically modified foods, artificial flavors, colors, and sweeteners, right? But then when we think about music, look at the lyrics. So in the 80s, we were fighting the power, UNITY. We had uplifting music that was very powerful, and it would feed our spirit, man. And white America was not happy with that. They're never going to be happy with Black unity. They love dysfunction, and they know that we can be easily persuaded. And so many of our Black brothers and sisters had to go back to the drawing board and change the lyrics. And we see they went from Black power and unity to gangs, drugs, casual sex. It just changed the whole dynamics of how we behaved. I remember when I took my daughter to see, it was a movie. It was a black guy who was a boxer. I forgot the name of the movie. And it's just a video. It was just a movie about him wanting to be a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
And out of nowhere, they threw in a sex scene.
Mm.
And that was by design.
Mm.
It was so random, and it did not need to be in the movie for it to be successful. And a lot of people took their children, and I know that they have the warnings, but nevertheless, just like you said, they want to plant seeds in people's mind. And
Mm.
so I wrote casinos,
Mm.
financial. It I have many in my community, and I don't go to casinos. I've been to the casino, and when I went the last few times I went to a casino, it was very depressing to see older people, specifically women, black women, 70, 80 years old, sitting in a casino filled with cigarette smoke and
Mm.
alcohol with a purse on their lap, gambling. That was a bad feeling for me. And it was a picture that never left my mind. I don't want to be like that.
Mm. Mm.
That's
Mm.
just not something that, I don't want that to be a part of my life. Um, I wrote down pushing the LGBTQ agenda.
Right.
They're pushing that agenda, and the rate of men and women who have died from AIDS complication is in the millions.
Mm. Mm.
It is
Mm.
in the millions. And I don't know if you know this, but there is also an agenda for black women to entertain the idea of anal sex.
Mm.
And I've been noticing that at least for the past, I would say 5 years, there's been a push in music for women. And I really think they're targeting black women because it's in a lot of rap
Mm-hmm.
music, hip hop music, to entertain the idea of getting involved in anal sex. And I saw a video yesterday. There's a doctor. I don't know what city she's in, but to make a long story short, she did she's a I think she's a gynecologist. And she did an interview with a woman who enjoys anal sex. And
Mm.
so she said the reason why she wanted to do the video and interview someone who engages in that type of behavior is because she's beginning to get a lot of phone calls at her office of black women who are inquiring about that type of behavior. And so the lady who she interviewed, you could look at her and tell that she was not all together. I mean, I'm not putting anybody down, but when
Mm-hmm.
I looked at her, I just said, I said to myself, she don't look like she wrapped too tight. And just the way she spoke, even though she spoke very well, some of the
Mm-hmm.
things that she said was not something that a woman of her age, like, and this may be explicit, but like, because she enjoys the behavior and she does it on a regular basis, she said her ass is hungry. And I'm looking at the video like, what kind of shit is
Mm.
that? Like, what kind of conversation would a grown ass woman have? Your ass hungry?
Mm.
What kind of shit is that? And so the doctor was, so I'm trying to get past a lot of shit because it was just, I was so angry. The doctor said, and that's why people have to learn how to read between the lines and peep game, because that doctor is a fucking lie. She said that a lot of women were saying in menopause, they don't self lubricate, because we adults, we can have this conversation. She was saying like a lot of women, when they get into menopause, they don't self lubricate. So that's
Mm.
why they were asking the question about anal sex. And so I said, wait a minute, your asshole don't self lubricate, bitch, you lying. What the fuck is you talking about?
Mm. 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 Mm.
You're a fucking liar.
Mm.
Like I was so angry because I have a lot of friends and family who died from AIDS complications with that type of behavior. And so if that is part of the agenda to push the idea, the deadly idea, then you keep what you kill. Because that's disgusting. It's disgusting. And what really pissed me off is the fact that the doctor was saying, and you could read the comments, a lot of people were saying how dangerous that act is.
Right.
Like you could be injured to the extent that you need surgery. And the lady, because when she first started engaging in this type of behavior, she was shit and didn't even know she shitted.
What?
And I'm saying, who the fuck want to walk around like that?
Wow.
And you get engaged in it and you need 3 days to rest because it don't fucked up your inside. Like, I know that this is explicit, but I'm just saying the deadly ideas, how they are planning our death. People have to be very, very, very careful with the people that you talk to and the people that you entertain. And you're going to have to pick a struggle. You have to, and I said a lot of women, to be truthful, they're engaging in that type of behavior because they're desperate. And a lot of these men, they're engaging in all type of shit. And like some older women, the idea with them is, a man is having a man is better than not having one. But what about what's most important? Because you have to come up to my level. And I swear to God, I've had guys ask me to do some nasty shit like that, and that was the last time we talked. Don't even fucking play with me. That's some disgusting ass shit. I have plenty of books I can go read, shit I can do around my house, but I'm not engaging in that dumb shit because there's too many people dying from that. Too many people walking around here HIV positive because they're listening to this filth, watching filth, engaging in conversations, and they are engaging in a disgusting behavior that's called, my friend, he's a fighter. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's a champ. He's been a champ 3-4 times. And there's the guy who played in Black Panther. Remember the guy that played in Black Panther who died?
The Black Panther star.
What's his name? Chadwick Boseman or something like that.
Right.
He had HPV.
No, I didn't know that.
That's the word on the card was he had some type of anal or rectal cancer or something like that. And my friend, he's into that. He knows a lot of people in the industry and Hollywood and stuff like that. And he was telling me about it. And I was like, oh, he died of cancer. He was like, man, that shit is fucking HPV. And he was like, think about how you would get HPV in your ass. And I was like, oh my God. Sexual deviance.
Wow.
Sexual deviance. We got to be careful. That's not the will of God.
That's right.
It's not natural. It's not safe. And no man should be asking a woman to engage in that behavior. And if a man asks a woman to engage in that behavior, I would definitely say, sister, that is your cue to block his ass on your phone and never speak to that nigga again. Never in this lifetime. I don't look, go with God. I'd rather be lonely than have HIV.
Exactly.
I'd rather be lonely than have HIV. So pushing that agenda, sexual deviance, plan B, strip clubs everywhere. Strip clubs everywhere. OnlyFans, Backpage, magazine. It's everywhere.
Exactly.
They have a new pill now that's replacing Viagra. All over social media. It's a red pill. I'm so sick of seeing that advertisement. Because I'm saying, why are they pushing this Viagra, this new Viagra pill, the way they are? What's the fuck in that pill?
Exactly.
What the fuck is in that pill? These niggas gonna be dropping dead from a heart attack. They're not practicing semen retention. They don't. A lot of men are not practicing semen retention.
No.
They think about it, they want it. No fucking I have no respect for a man who has no self-control. I hate that shit. Have some self-control. Go read a goddamn book. And I put debt. So many of our people are in debt.
Exactly.
No self-control when it comes to money management. Financial debt. Every holiday, they got to participate. Everything that come out new, they got to have it.
Right.
And I also wrote marijuana. How the government is allowing people to sell marijuana. They say it's so many chemicals in this marijuana now.
Exactly.
That ain't that old school OG Kush. That's some shit they made in the laboratory, and they say that shit is dead. They say that shit don't even hit you like that OG Kush shit. They say this marijuana now that they're selling in those smoke shops. That and that's genetically. I mean, they got so many guys. How the fuck you get all these flavors in marijuana? How the fuck you get strawberry flavor, watermelon flavor, banana pudding? What the fuck is you like? Really? And plastic surgeries. A lot of black women are dying because they want to have a BBL. They coming home in body bag. They're going to Dominican Republic. They're going to China. They're coming down to Florida. They going here, there, everywhere to get these damn surgeries, and they're going home in body bags.
Wow.
And I wrote, yeah, that's it. That's all I have. So death is all around us.
Oh, most definitely.
In the air, the water, the food, our behavior. Because there's some things that's just a little bit beyond our ability to control. But those things that we can control, the question is, are we in control?
Right.
Because sex is a weapon. Look how many, it's so many people that they know they HIV positive. They're talking about, they say, oh, well, I'm undetectable. No such thing.
Right.
They say it's no such thing as being undetectable. You still passing it on. Maurice, do you remember those black men? They were bragging and laughing and talking shit about black women going to Dominican Republic, having sex with them girls. Okay, they call them
passport bros. Yeah.
Have you been seeing what's going on with them? Oh my God, I'm sorry. Have you been seeing what has been going on with a lot of those men?
No, I don't keep up with them.
They coming back HIV positive.
Oh my God.
They say them niggas is coming back positive.
Wow.
See, and the first thing that came to my mind was people got to understand the black woman is God.
Exactly.
We are divine.
Exactly.
When you disrespect a black woman, you stepping into hell. And a lot of these men that's disrespecting black women as opposed to protecting us, respecting us, uplifting us, loving on us, teaching us, being patient with us, they running to other women and they catching hell. One guy, he moved back and he's over here apologizing, and now he has a YouTube channel talking about he black first. Nigga, no, you're not. Not because I'm thinking to myself, are you HIV positive? That's what I'm thinking. You done talked all this shit about black women, took your ass over there, called us all kind of names, and now you back and you act like you black first. HIV got a way of breaking your ass the fuck down into a million pieces within.
Exactly.
They got to get their shit right the first time. So that's just some notes that I was writing. And excuse the explicitness, but that's I'm sorry.
It is good. It's good. I wanted to touch back on the weather as well, because Europe makes up 44 countries. Africa makes up 55 countries. So that's 99 countries right there alone. The natural disasters cost for America outdoes Africa, every country in Africa, all collective together. Their cost of natural disasters don't outdo America's. Europe, all 44 of those countries together, their cost doesn't outdo the cost that America pays for natural disasters. So, and we could check South America, but I believe South America is going to be the same thing. America's cost is going to be greater. Now, we have to stop and say, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. All these crackers came from Europe. All of them came from over there. So wouldn't we think that Europe, especially Great Britain, would probably be more, since they are the father, they are the mother and the daddy of these crackers, because they all came from there? Shouldn't they pay more? Shouldn't they be hit with these natural disasters by God more than America? No. Because even that they had slavery, and even though their slavery was ended before America's slavery was ended, but there is no country on this planet, listen, there is no country on this planet that had slaves, black slaves, have done to them what America has done to us. No country has done to those that they had slaves what was done to us. And so when you understand the love that our God has for us, and that he said he would come to us and judge this nation that we have served and bring her low. This is why when we see what happens in America, this is what they've earned, because what they have done to you, what they have done to us. They took away everything from you. Your religion, your natural way of being, your name, your own language, your culture. They took everything.
Your mother, your father, your children.
Everything. So thoroughly that you don't even know yourself. America is getting everything that she's earned, and it ain't over with yet. It ain't over with. So you keep watching, you keep listening, you keep reading, you keep seeing, because this country is going to pay for everything that they have done to you. So when Thomas Jefferson said about his country, when he reflects, he trembles when he reflects on this country, and that God is just, and his justice can't sleep forever. So he look, I may have gotten away with it. I may have gotten away personally with what I've done, but this country that I've done it for will not be able to escape God's justice. So when you in your church and your pastor tell you to pray for America, pray for our leaders, to hell, see, that shows you that your pastor don't know the book. That your pastor, your minister, your preachers don't know a damn thing about what they talking about. They better come here and get a seat and be taught what the real deal is. You can pray till your day turn red. It ain't gonna save America, and it ain't gonna save the American leadership, and it ain't gonna save your niggardly ass. It ain't gonna do it. You better get it right. This is the divine destruction of America. The divine destruction of America. This is real. This is real. I rest.
I want to okay, Sam. Paragraph 14. Okay.
Okay.
This is not going to be long, but because this is we're still in chapter 30. What chapter is this? 36.
36. Mm-hmm.
Okay, chapter 36. Paragraph 14 says, God in the person of Master Fard Muhammad will not be defeated. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share my screen right quick because I told you about this dream that I had, but I want to go a little bit further. I don't, I'm not even going to go there. I don't like to tell people a lot about my dreams, but I feel compelled to share this dream with your listening audience.
Okay.
Let me just set up the background.
Okay.
Should I say the name or just don't say the name?
No, go ahead and say it.
Okay, so the last video that I watched with Brother Isaiah, our beloved Brother Isaiah, we just having a hiccup right now, but that's our beloved brother. He said that the Nation of Islam worships a white guy. And I want to go back just a little bit because I want to share my dream with your listening audience. And I want to show you what I saw in the dream, because I told you about the dream, but I did not necessarily send you a picture of what I saw.
Right.
And so I want to ask you a question right quick. I want to ask you a question right quick. Let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see it.
Do you know who this person is on your screen?
He looks familiar, but I'm not sure. I'm not. Is he like an actor or something?
Nope. I wonder why I don't see it on my phone. I don't see, hold on for a second. Let me get you on my phone. Okay. So you said this person, yeah, I see him. So the person that you see here on the screen, you've never seen him before?
No.
You don't know his name?
No.
Okay. So for those of you who are listening, let me tell you, make a long story very short. I think the year was 2010, 2011, or 2012. I'm not sure. But it had to be between 2010, 2012, and it was in the summer, June or July. And it was in the afternoon. It was a very, very bright and hot day. It was a weekday. And I was asleep. I was taking a nap. And while I was taking this nap, I heard the words, God is here, God is here, God is here, God is here. And in the dream, I saw this man in a long white tunic. You know, like those white tunics they wear in the desert? And they wear like the brown leather sandals.
Right.
So I'm hearing these birds, but the birds were not like the birds that we have here on earth. The birds that I saw in my dream, they were the shape of a tennis ball, and their wings were in the shape of triangles. So if you can just imagine a tennis ball with wings in the shape of a triangle, they were flying all around this individual who was walking towards me, who was God in the dream. And these birds were saying, God is here, God is here, God is here, God. Like they were announcing his coming. So in the dream, God in the white tunic and leather sandals, he has his hands behind his back and he's looking at my grass because I pulled up all of my grass and I resodded my entire backyard with my hands. And it was a lot of work, but I always look at yard work as exercise. And I did my whole backyard with a pickaxe and a damn shovel. And I did all the damn grass, new grass by myself. And so this God was with his hands behind his back. He's walking in my my backyard, inspecting the grass. Now, I'm trying to get up out of the dream because I'm like, shit, God is here. I'm trying to get the fuck up out the dream and go see God. But Maurice, I couldn't get up because this pressure or this presence was holding me down in the bed. Like it had me like pinned down and I'm trying to get out the dream, but it was like pushing me down into the bed. I could not get up and I'm fighting and I'm fighting and I'm trying to like get out of it, but I couldn't move. And so when God left, I got up and I ran towards my back door looking for God, but God was gone. Maurice, I told you in my dream, I said, God, this person that you see on the screen, God looked just like this. This person that you see on the screen, his name is Maxwell Gladwell. And I read Maxwell Gladwell's book many years ago when it first came out. And I always wondered, and I said, I said, God was having, I wrote in my dream book, I said, God, and I was wondering, I said, why was God's skin not pitch black? You know? I say, when you think about the ancient Kemetic, when they have images of God, he's the perfect black. And we hear people say, black man is God, the black woman is God. Okay, we get what we're talking about. We're talking about the Aboriginals, us melanated people. We get that.
Right.
But I never forget, I wrote in my dream book, I said God was having a bad hair day. Because you see Maxwell Gladwell, as far as I'm concerned, he having a bad hair day.
Right.
And I said in my dream, I said, Maurice, I've been holding this for the longest. I said, why is God biracial? My dream, I'm like, he not white, he not black, and he wasn't from America. And this is 2011. I never knew about the Nation of Islam at that time. I never heard of Master Farad Muhammad at that time. I never heard of Elijah Muhammad at that time. And I didn't know much about Minister Louis Farrakhan when I had this dream. I knew nothing about the Nation of Islam. I knew nothing about Elijah Muhammad. I knew nothing of Master Farad Muhammad. And I only knew a little bit about Minister Louis Farrakhan when I had this dream. And in that dream, I kept saying, well, God ain't white and God not black and he not from America. I'm like, what the like, I never knew. It was just always in my mind and I never figured it out. So fast forward, when I went to the mosque last year to hang out with the Nation of Islam on a Friday night, I learned last year that Master Farad Muhammad was biracial. I'm sitting in self-improvement class on a Friday night around 7, 8 o'clock. And all of a sudden, they were talking about Master Farad Muhammad. And they said, well, his dad was black and his mom was white. And I'm like, what? They said, yeah, he was biracial. And it still didn't hit me then until I remember when I told you about the dream. And it was like, I felt like things were coming into full circle, right?
Right.
So Again, I want to say this before I finish saying what I'm saying. In my dream, God looked like Maxwell Gladwell. That's the only person that I could picture in my mind to give you an idea of what I saw. Okay, did I make that clear?
Exactly. Yes.
Now, look at this right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
That's
Wow.
who the
That is
fuck I saw in
crazy.
my dream.
Mm. Wow. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know how to. I've been crying about this. I really been crying about this
Mm.
because I'm just realizing this just by doing this book study.
Mm.
I can't deny what I saw in my dream,
Exactly.
and all my dreams come true. And the Nation of Islam, that's the only organization that I've ever heard say God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the similarities.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Look at the similarities between Master Farad Muhammad and Maxwell Gladwell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it.
Like I had this dream so long ago, but
Mm.
it's like to be honest with you, I don't know. I'm speechless.
Mm. Mm-mm.
And I said to myself, I said, if God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad in my dream, I'm telling you, that God that was in my dream is the God that I worship.
Mm-hmm.
That's the God that, yeah, I worship this God. Because when I meditate, when I'm having a bad day, when I do praise and worship sometimes, like when I just tired of YouTube and I just go into praise and worship for hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always to that God that was in my dream. And so um just like I say, this study, The Fall of America, is putting the pieces of a very long and lengthy puzzle together for me. And it's amazing. It's overwhelming. I still have questions. I'm not 100% sold out, but I can't deny what I saw.
Right.
And I said to myself, if in fact Master Farad Muhammad is who I suspect that he is based on my dream, the
Mm-hmm.
Nation of Islam is one of the most powerful organizations in the world.
Oh, most definitely it is. Most definitely it is.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, what you think about this?
Yeah, I am definitely blown away by it. Sincerely, because the picture is that's his booking picture,
Mhm.
uh, and wow, wow, I'm literally blown away.
Yeah, time will tell.
Hmm.
It's a journey,
Exactly.
and the only I just write down what I'm thinking, and God ain't gonna reveal Himself to everybody.
Right. Hmm.
God is not gonna do that.
Mm-mm.
God is gonna reveal Himself to who He want to reveal Himself to.
Hmm.
And everybody's spiritual journey and elevation, it's not the same.
No.
And I'm not going to, nobody can persuade me, nobody can make me feel bad because I know my dreams. I'm a natural born seer.
Hmm.
And the only person with my study that comes close to looking like that person that I saw in my dream is Master Farad Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have a lot to learn. I have a lot to grow. And I know that there's a lot of opposition. But my sanity and my spiritual elevation is not based upon what other people say and what they think.
Exactly.
I'm gonna keep standing on my own
Mm-hmm.
because I know I'm tremendously blessed.
Exactly.
And time will tell.
Exactly.
Time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to share that.
You know, it's an amazing share, and I'll tell you this, that you know, for us to be able to say that, you know, we believe that God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, people will look at, oh, nigga, y'all crazy as hell. Ain't no God came in no person, no Master Farad Muhammad, da 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 da. He was this, he was that. Look, at the end of the day, what Master Farad Muhammad came and taught, can't nobody outdo it. Can't nobody do what he has done. Can't nobody do anything better than what he has done. Nobody. Nobody. So, you know, it's a beautiful thing to be able to say, you know, this is what we believe, this is what we know. And as you said, in time, it all will be brought to the forefront and you'll be able to see and believe for yourself. But one thing is for sure, you know what you're talking about. Your dreams ain't failed you before. Why should they fail you now? It has been on point and it has been what it is. And you know this. And you know this. Others will come to learn.
Mm-hmm.
They will come to learn. Look, when I was just getting in the nation and I wasn't 100% in because I was still in the military, and Minister Farrakhan had came to Nashville this time, and I wanted to be right there where the minister is so that I could see him, I could look at him, I can listen to him, you know, right there and there. And one of the brothers said to me, because I was complaining, because here you sending me over here to the hotel, to guard the hotel that the minister ain't even in, you know? And he's like, brother, what's wrong? I said, the minister's here at the venue and y'all sending me over here to a hotel to guard a hotel that he ain't even in. And I was like, this that don't make sense to me. He said, brother, don't you believe in Master Farad Muhammad? I said, yes, sir, I do believe in Master Farad Muhammad. He said, well, look here. Master Farad Muhammad knows your heart. He knows your desires. And he's going to give you what you want in time. But you got to be a soldier and follow instructions. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? I said, yes, sir. And I stopped pouting, got myself together. Yes, sir. Get in the car, go over there to the hotel, get over there to the hotel. The brother look at me and say, you processing or you already in? And I'm like, no, I'm still processing. He said, get out, go back to the hotel, go back to the venue. So I get sent right back to the venue. And there I'm standing there inside the hall listening to the minister. But a few years later, I'm fully in, registered and everything. Next thing you know, I'm down in Chicago in Mos Mariam cleaning the carpet because we're about to have a convention, the Islamic convention over. And I'm down there rubbing the carpet with me and Minister Ishmael, just having a conversation. And next thing you know, I hear brothers come close. And it's Minister Farrakhan walking in like he's floating on water. And man, look here. I'm get up and I'm right there and I'm so close to the minister I can reach out and touch it. He's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and he's talking, giving us instructions of how to do this and how to do that. And I'm like, wow. And I remembered what that brother had said to me. And I was like, wow, that brother was on it. You know, and I saw him at the convention. And I told him, I was like, bro, you may not remember me, But a few years ago, like maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, you asked me, did I believe in Master Farad Muhammad, and that minister, that Master Farad Muhammad knows what's in my heart, and he'll manifest it. He knows what I want, and he'll manifest. I said, he just did it.
Mm-hmm.
He just did it. And he was like, well, good, brother. Praise be to Allah. All you got to do is believe, and you keep going, regardless to whom or what. But you keep going, and it's going to manifest, and you ain't got to worry about nothing. You ain't got to worry about nothing. And, it has been so many times now where the minister would be in the room, and I'm in the room, and he's teaching everybody in the room, and he's like, well, I got to go right now. And I was like, no, sir. And he looked up and he looked at me, and he just smiled. It's going to be all right, brother. I just can't say enough how blessed I have been in my steadfastness of believing in Master Farad Muhammad, believing in the God of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, believing in the God of Minister Farrakhan. Because even though we're on this political battlefield, and people tell me, and sometimes I hear it in myself, they're going to kill you when you get there. You're going to die as soon as you get there. And then I have to remember, no, because the God I serve, nobody killed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Nobody killed the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's the God I serve. Now, the God you may serve, and all of them got wiped out, but not the one that I serve. And so, hey, you are blessed. We are blessed. And we're going to walk forward being blessed and being able to see. And other people that's bearing witness right now will be able to say, yeah, she was right. I remember she said that. And now I can verify that, yeah, she was right on point. Keep living.
When it comes to my dreams, it's undeniable. My daughter, I'm the only mama she know, and she is still in amazement. She's still trying to figure me out. And she be like, Ma, why I don't do this like you, and why I don't see spirits like you? And I'm like, girl, I don't know. It's a gift. I'm like, I was born with this gift. I don't know. But if it's in my dream, it's right. Solid.
That's right.
So, chapter 37, America's land being divinely curtailed. Holy Quran, chapter 13, verse 41. See they not that? We are visiting the land, curtailing it of its sides. And Allah pronounces a doom. There is no repeller of his decree. And he is swift in calling to account. Black man in America, there is no one as blind as you are in seeing what is going on against America. I have warned you for nearly 40 years that Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, came to me and gave me the knowledge of the truth. And I have been preaching it to you continually. Now you see what is going on, as America has done. So now it is being done unto her. America has surrounded the countries of other peoples. She has blown their cities to pieces, and she has killed their inhabitants. Those who were left alive, she put to flight, running for shelter from the destruction of America's might. It is very sad and horrible to look at the things that America had done, which are now coming on this country. For many years, centuries of years, America has lived a luxurious, wicked life while hating her Black slaves and depriving them of justice, shooting them down on the streets, on the highways, and in the woods and fields for nothing. She did it just because she felt that she had the advantage and she wanted to kill Black people as she was made to do. The Bible, Psalm 10, verse 8. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, in the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are set against the poor. Up until this very minute, she is seeking to destroy the Black man in America and to deprive him of the freedom to do for self. America never desires a departure of the Black slave from his white slave master. America wishes only to hold the Black slave in order to continue to treat him with evil. Pharaoh's hatred and injustice to Israel in Egypt in the time of Moses should serve America as a warning, but she has fallen headlong into the throes of the destruction of Allah God. America runs to and fro, seeking a way out, but she does not try to justify her Black slave for justice and equality among the nations of the earth. America made us into nothing, and she used us to mock us before the nations of the earth. But a God with unlimited wisdom, knowledge, and power is now befriending the Black slave. And he has chosen the Black slave to be his people. But the foolish Black people have yet to come into that knowledge that Allah is their best friend and that he is here to save them from the destruction of a people who have shown enmity and hatred to us all of our lives. America divided us one against the other. The Black man in America is so divided against each other that you seek all of the time to do evil against each other. You cannot even befriend them lest they take advantage of it. They call you a fool for trying to befriend them, as it was with us by Midway Technical School. Midway Technical School came to us for help. We gave them that help to keep them from falling. It cost us $30,000 to set them free of their back rent and other bills that they had. Take a look at how they have turned on us for the purpose of wrecking all of the beautiful businesses set up for them and others to enjoy on the south side of Chicago, Illinois. Now, I tried to look up some information about Midway Technical. The name, if I'm not mistaken, is different now, but I couldn't find any information in regards to what Elijah Muhammad was talking about. Would you happen to know anything about this school?
You know, I went to a Midway, like a school in Chicago. They sent me there for training. It was a grassroots type of organization that dealt with anti-racism training when I was a part of this nonprofit. And as he's talking, and the things that I do know is that schools, individuals would come to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asking for money for him to help them out once they got into legal trouble. And, he did. So I'm sitting up here thinking, is this Midway the same Midway that I actually went to for grassroots organizing? And and I'm starting to get the feeling like it actually is. But I would have to do some more research into it. But I'm getting the feeling like it really is.
I think it's still, let me see. No, that's a white school. This would have been, I wonder if, would this have been in Chicago?
I'm thinking so.
Because they're still open. It's still a school right now today. Yeah, it looks like it changed the name of the school, but nevertheless, that was 30, based upon what Elijah Muhammad was saying, that's $30,000 that was lost. You come to him when you need help. he said he helped them with the back rent and other bills.
Mm-hmm.
And then they turned on the nation for the purpose of wrecking all of the beautiful businesses set up for them and others to enjoy. Let me ask you a question based upon paragraph number 9. Elijah Muhammad says the black man in America is so divided against each other that you seek all of the time to do evil against each other. What are some of the ways that we today are divided, black people? What's dividing us?
Man, there are so many things that divide us. Religion, politics, daily living, being black itself, how we defined ourselves, what we're driving, where we're living, what kind of work we do, what kind of education do we have, what level of education we have. Anything that is a subject is a potential division for black people. What kind of woman you married, what the woman looked like, all of these things are divisions for us that we got to be on the opposite side of each other, and not even just be on the opposite side of each other, but try to destroy each other because we're on the opposite side of each other, and that makes us each other's enemy. And, I really hate this where we say, another black people are our own worst enemy. I hate that because we're not our own worst enemy. Our worst enemy is the cracker. It is just that we have been so subverted and so trained against our natural selves that we put stock in taking down one another for the joy of the enemy. For the joy of the enemy, we'll destroy each other. It's just like we saw when Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, came and met with Donald Trump, and he brung his white, quote unquote, friends, his white government people that they merged with, and Trump was showing Malema, Julius Malema, on TV, and he talking about kill the boer, kill the farmer, pow, 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 pow. And the white one says, yeah, this is why we joined with the ANC, so we can keep him out of office. When Malema represents justice for the black South African. But the ANC will join with the enemy to block justice from coming to the people that you claim you serve. Now, see, this is how it's done there, but it's done here in the same manner. Because there will be black people that come out against us, not because we've done something to them, not because we hurt them, not because we stole from them, but because people listen to what we say. They like what we present. So they will come out to attack us to give aid to the enemy. For what? For what? Because you don't like how she talked? You don't like the way she presents? You don't like the way I talk, the way I present? So you decide that you want to attack something that's good for you for the pleasure of the enemy. Division. Because you don't get numbers like we get numbers. Because the quality of work that we put in, the love that we have for our people shows in the quality of work that we produce. But instead of being a brother to a brother, instead of being a brother to a sister or a sister to a sister, you want to show enmity. You want to show hatred. You want to show division of your brother and try to destroy us to allow the enemy to run free. This is sickening. But this is what's happening. This is what's happening. And so we got to be able to stop and look and say, if this person is attacking this sister, this brother, who we know love our people, then it's time for us to go after this attacker and let them know you're not going to do this to them. They haven't deserved this. So our people have to wake up to their responsibility to defend. You got to wake up to that responsibility, because it's not okay for these low-life niggas to come out and just attack. For what? For the pleasure of our enemy, and to keep our people blind, deaf, and dumb. Because what are these niggas, what do they got to offer? Nothing. Nothing. One idiot sits up and actually just shows you more YouTube videos, like he's really teaching you. He ain't teaching you nothing. And another dumb nigga want to have debates, not with a real person, but with a video of somebody else. This is ridiculous. But they call it scholarship. They call it that they have some type of wisdom. And it's foolishness. It's pure foolishness. The more we're trying to wake up our people to the time and what must be done, they want to keep them asleep to the time and what must be done. They're fine with our people dying by the masses. They ain't got a problem with it. They ain't got a problem with it. But because we got a problem with it, because we want to stop it, then they say, oh, we got to come after these people. But you want to be down. That's the reality. You want to be down. Isaiah has been with me for years. Years. And now all of a sudden, you want to come against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? But what have you built? Nothing.
What did he, I'm sorry, what did he say? I forgot. What did he say about Elijah Muhammad?
Elijah Muhammad wasn't real. He don't know what he talking about. The nigga was a ripoff artist. All this foolishness. But you ran your black ass over there out of America to the Dominican Republic. You ran from here. He didn't run. He stayed right here amongst his people. When they wanted him from Africa to come and teach them, and said, we'll pay you this, we'll give you this. He said, no, my work is here amongst my people. This is where God has come. So this is where I must stay. But he run his ass over there to the DR and act like, oh, I got a method to save black. Nigga, shut up. You ain't got nothing. Same like this Nollywood, God Nollywood, ain't got shit to offer. Can't produce a damn thing. You done bought 5,000 followers and can't even get 100 people, can't even get 50 people to watch a damn video. But you throw my name up in it, you're going to get people to come. These lazy, pathetic niggas don't even have the right to have a tongue. You forfeit your right to have a tongue because you don't know how to use it, claiming to be RBG. Nigga, you out there, you working with the enemy. You working with them. You know damn good And it's the division that you eat up. Well, let me, and you know this thing. You sit back and watch our videos, no matter whether we go 2 hours or 4 hours, you're gonna sit there and watch it. And then when you try to critique it, oh, I think this, nigga, we giving you actual facts. Where's your facts? You don't have no facts. Your ground that you standing on is quicksand. You keep sinking. The reality is you're jealous and you're envious. Why? You had an opportunity. Shit, when we had the first Black First Family Day, we featured Guy Nollywood, gave him 20, 25 minutes to speak before me. Ain't nobody ever bring him to no situation like that before.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, wait. I'm confused. You had a Black First picnic?
We had a Black First Family Day.
Oh, you had a Black First Family Day.
Exactly.
It was like a picnic type. People came out physically.
People came out. We spoke here in Philly. People came out to what is the bookstore, Black and Noble. They came out to the bookstore. We were live streaming and gave them 20, 25 minutes to speak before I got on the platform to speak.
Wow.
He ain't never been invited nowhere to come out and speak. But I did that for him.
So what happened? I mean, to make a long story short, how did that relationship fall apart?
Because another brother who was doing his platform, Angel Snub Nose number 7, he made a joke. He cracked a joke. He's always cracking jokes. He cracked jokes on me or on anybody. But the shit was funny. And I laughed. And because I laughed, now I become enemy number 1. I say, but shit, when he made a joke on me, I laughed too because it was funny. So I laughed. But it don't mean that because I laughed and okay, yeah, I'm your bosom buddy. No, you made a joke. Hey, the shit was funny. It was funny. You know, because he was like, how you RBG and you wearing the Santa Claus hat and you coming on talking about some Christmas. So the way that he said it, the shit was funny as hell.
So wait a minute. He came to the family day with a Santa Claus hat?
No, he did a video. The video, and he had the Santa Claus hat, talking Christmas and all this stuff.
Oh, and you RBG.
Right.
And we're supposed to separate ourselves from these European holidays because after all, it is a mental genocide.
Exactly.
It's not that those are not our holidays. We're literally supposed to act like those days are they don't even exist.
Exactly.
And that's a valid point.
Exactly.
How you RBG, but with a Santa Claus hat on and you talking about European holidays? That's a legitimate question. I ask that question to myself all the time with the women on my job.
Mm-hmm.
You act like you so Black centered, but you practicing every goddamn European holiday on the calendar.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Pick a struggle. You can't be straddling the fence.
Mm-mm.
So he fell apart from that, and it's just been downhill ever since, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
So let me ask you a question. You said that Brother Isaiah has been with you, meaning on your platform, for years.
Yeah, for years.
How many years?
5, 6, 7 years. He's been with me for a long time.
So I know that he was timed out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's all I just know that he was timed out. And where did the breakdown come in with Isaiah? Because let me ask you a question. So Brother Isaiah has been on your platform, you say, for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
He is aware that you have a Nation of Islam background, correct?
Correct.
Have you all talked about Minister Louis Farrakhan, Master Farad Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad on your platform during those 5 years?
We sure have.
He knows your position and how you feel about them?
Exactly, 1000%.
So where did the breakdown come with him saying the things that he said against Farad Muhammad and Elijah? What caused that?
Well, when we were doing the Sunday program and he was jumping all over the Haitians, and even everybody, I mean, this is the first time that everybody in the chat was thoroughly against him and did not like what he was saying, and what he was saying did not represent Black first. He was just really way off, way off. And me and him had conversations about this before, but this time it's like he really tripled down on the Haitians, and nobody in the audience liked that. Everybody was upset. And me and him had a conversation after the program was over. And, he's like, look, I don't give a fuck who upset. I don't care this, that, and the other. What I said, they ain't no fucking good, this, that, and the other thing. Well, okay, brother. Well, you can't come on to the program, because that attitude is not Black first. It's not where we're supposed to be at. Everybody in the chat was thoroughly against everything that you were saying. They even began to question, are you really Black first, or you just talking because you don't sound like it? There's no way you can be Black first and be so against the Haitians that you won't even look to try to help them at all. That you want nothing but bad things from them. And at the end of the day, he can't point to one Haitian and said he did this to me. This you migrated over there to the DR, and you took what the DR felt about the Haitian and you made that part of your reality. So and then on that 10 toes deep, when it has been pointed out that from the top of the Democratic Republic government, that they wanted to separate Black people and say that, the DR people, not Black people. They're not Black. They're not like the Haitians. The Haitians are no other than that. And so I said, when we know, because when the DR people come to America, they'll tell you quick, I'm not Black. I'm not Black. So you want to ingrain yourself into that type of thinking and that type of way. That's not Black first, and that's not what we're doing. So you're not going to be able to come back until you come back to the understanding of what Black first is. And you're ready to make amends and apologize and say, yeah, you were wrong by the way what you were saying. So, he didn't want to do that. He was standing on what he said. And so he looked to see where is something that I can find a hole at. And so because other people now started firing at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, started with Emil, then it went to Nollywood, and then Isaiah picked it up. Exactly how it went. Exactly how it went. And it's one thing, and I'll say this: it's one thing to come for me. That's one thing. But to come for you, to call you the B word, to talk about I wish you don't have children or whatever to that effect. Totally uncalled for.
He said, who said that?
Nollywood guy.
He said he wished I don't have children.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Very.
What? That's dumb. That's dumb.
Very.
That's just ridiculous to say something like that.
Yeah. And according to him, if you're supposed to put Black women on a pedestal, why would he call you out your name? And you don't know him. You ain't never met him. You ain't never done a damn thing to him. But yet he wants to call you out your name. Oh, that bitch, this, da, 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 da. Nigga, for what?
He was fishing. I think, fishing for attention. And I also feel like he was trying to get the attention of other people so that they could come and attack me, but not knowing that some of those people that he was trying to get their attention, they know me personally.
Mm.
And even if they did not know me personally, they wouldn't bother me because those are real men.
Mm-hmm.
Those are real. Like they're not gonna come. They're not gonna come for me. They're not gonna attack me. They're not gonna they unless I try to assassinate their character.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you could really get their attention in regards to a woman, because they really don't they don't play when it come to women. Mm-mm. You can't get far with that.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the DR, I don't know if I'm sharing my screen, but I remember I showed this picture. We're going to get back to reading in a second, but I do remember when we were talking about the Dominican Republic, I showed this picture. Remember, I showed this picture when the last time we were having that conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and I pulled up Dominican Republic government administration.
Mm-hmm.
These people are European.
Exactly.
They are imposing themselves on the island. The whole island was Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
The whole island was Haitian. And
Mm-hmm.
they imposed themselves. They backed it up with their military, and they literally massacred Haitian people.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of hating Haitians is coming from the European to secure their dominance and occupation of the island.
Mm-hmm.
So if you buy and you subscribe to their idea, it shows that you're clueless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna listen to a white man tell me to hate a black man.
Exactly.
I have to question that.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the DR's administration. These people uphold hatred towards Haitian people so that they can have a foothold in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very unfortunate that he's been with you. He was with you on your platform for 5 years. It's very unfortunate that he has the position against Haitian people, because I have been tremendously blessed by Haitians.
Mm-hmm.
I work with them. I live around some of them. Some I can't stand, and some I love, and I fight to my death.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just very unfortunate that the vision that we have, because if we really know who the enemy is, and that's one of the first things that Elijah Muhammad talked about when we start doing this study, we need to know who we are, who God is, and who the devil is.
Exactly.
Because these peoples are demons and they are devils, and they are teaching black people to hate black people so that they can have a foot on the soil of an island that they're imposing themselves on.
Mm-hmm.
They don't belong there. They do not belong in the Caribbean.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So I hope that, like I say, for me, it's a little hiccup, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like him as your brother, I wish that you all could have worked it out a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could be mad at somebody, but when you love someone and you've been rocking with somebody for a very long time, it's just you move different.
Exactly.
And there is a lot of division in our community, and a lot of it comes from white society
Exactly.
thinking that their ice is colder and their sugar is sweeter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not. We have to understand who we are, who they are, and who God is.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. 1000%.
So I told you I didn't know this book was going to take us in all these different directions, but it really pulled out. Ooh, oh my God. You ready to continue to read? I know people like, damn, I wish they would just shut the hell up. I bet that's what they're saying.
Mm-mm-mm.
We on chapter 38?
I think we're on 37. I believe.
So let me ask you a question before I continue to read.
Okay.
If black people put down religion, do you think that will unify us?
I think that, like Malcolm said, if we come into a room to have a meeting and we leave our religion outside the room, I think we could be unified. I think we could be unified. But if they have to bring that religion into the room and they have to get into that kind of conversation, we'll stay divided. We'll stay divided. The religion has to stay outside, keep it at home. When we come into this room, we're planning for the freedom of our people and what needs to be done. And then we move out and we accomplish our objectives. You know, your religion, keep it personal. Don't bring it to the table. Don't bring it to the table. Because you bring it to the table, we're gonna have issues. We're gonna have issues.
Yeah, we need a lot of readjusting.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of things that we need change.
Mm-hmm.
Right on down to marriage, how we raise our children,
Mm-hmm.
the music,
Mm-hmm.
food,
Mm-hmm.
relationships. Like, there's so much we're gonna have to just take a big spiritual eraser and erase a lot of that shit and begin to rebuild something new and fresh that we all agree that this is the best for our people.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I said, I didn't want to say it, but when it comes down to marriage, we really need to revisit that.
Mm-hmm.
My belief when it comes to marriage is very different than most American women,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe that a black man, I don't give a fuck about white men, but I believe that a black man can have as many women as he can afford. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in the idea of men tippy-toeing and cheating. That's very cowardly to me,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't help who you like and who you love.
Right.
And so, I like I say, I believe a man can have as many women as he can afford. And
Mm-hmm.
men are cheating anyway. They cheat anyway, 3, 4 women.
Right.
Why not have a wholesome marriage with 3 women and okay, I'm the man and these are my wives. I don't see a problem
Mm-hmm.
with that.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that he should have enough money to afford to make sure that every wife has her own house, her own bed, and you're not having no damn orgy.
Exactly.
There's a way to do everything under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
When we were in our ancestral homelands, wherever that may be on earth, men had multiple wives. When I talk to black women about that, they can't conceive of it. They get very disgusted and upset. And I
Mm.
feel that's very selfish. I'm like, your nigga cheating anyway, bitch. Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, bitch, you cheating anyway. Wouldn't you rather know?
Mm.
Wouldn't you rather know that your husband have another wife and they're having children? All those children know each other and grow up together and love each other as a family. And that's your sister wife. You got her back and she got yours.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do it that way. You want this man to yourself, and you have a group of a bunch of black women that's never going to get married because it's not enough men anyway.
Mm.
It's a shortage.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So now he cheating. You mad. A lot of people in prison right now in the grave from extramarital affairs.
Mm-hmm.
We got to rethink marriage in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that young boys should be like I said before, and I say it again. If I had a son, I would raise him to understand that he it's okay for him to entertain having multiple wives, but I would have to train him, hold on, in that lifestyle, so he goes in it being respectful of his women and children, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that he has a responsibility to take care of them. And I know people gonna bring some shit up about Elijah Muhammad, but that's neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned. I'm
Exactly.
just saying how I would raise my son and what I think is best for the black community. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things that we really need to rethink and revisit and get back to who we were.
Mm-hmm.
So we can really build families and communities, because a lot of our families and homes are being broken from people who are cheating And to be honest with you, men don't have to cheat.
Right.
In a order, you can have her.
Mm-hmm.
Do it right.
Exactly.
Be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, John, let's go to chapter 38.
All right.
All right. So you ready?
Ready.
Holy Quran, chapter 81, 6, 7, and 12. And when the cities are set afire, and when men are united, and when the hell is kindled. The folding up is the title taken from the first verse of that chapter in which the above verses are found. When the sun is folded up, symbolically prophesies the folding up of a recorded work, a record of what people have done, as its use will no longer be necessary. This chapter refers to what takes place in the resurrection. One party is recorded as a beginning, while the other party is discontinued. We see this clearly being made manifest today. War causes the destruction of civilizations. Wars destroy the cities and towns of a nation. This chapter 81 of the Holy Quran is now being fulfilled. The sun and the stars, mountains, camels, and wild animals are all mentioned metaphorically in the first four verses of this chapter and are not without significance. The coming of God referred to by the prophets is to unite a people who have been divided against self by their enemies. He chose these people for building a better world. The Bible's revelation refers to the destruction of the beast and his chief instructor, the dragon. The name beast given here is not referring to four-footed animals, but to a people whose rule is like that of a savage beast. Theologians, most of them from the time of Martin Luther, who I think was the author of these terms, beast and dragon, especially the late Pastor Russell and Judge Rutherford, founders of the Jehovah Witness sect, take the term dragon to refer to the Pope of Rome, the father of the Christian church and the Christian religion. This is the first time since we have been lost in this part of the earth that we want to unite the Black nations of the earth into one under the guidance of God who is now present. Why do you slave masters want to hold them for hostages? Pray. You do not need them. Your machines do the labor that the slaves used to do. Why not let them go? You want to go to war against Allah and the freedom that Allah came to do for your slaves? Before you, Pharaoh had the same idea. He did not want Israel to go free in a land to themselves. Pharaoh lost the war against Allah and was drowned in the Red Sea. The losers of this war will land in a lake of fire, not water. If white America wanted to free her slaves, she could do it. She could easily do so. This would be simpler and easier than what she is doing, killing and provoking them through police force, National Guards, and finally, the U.S. Army, as we see in Detroit, Michigan. America's actions show us two things. Firstly, she wishes to cause fear among the so-called Negroes with a display of with the display of many deadly weapons, but Allah is removing the fear. Secondly, she fears to approach her unarmed slave unless she is armed. This has been the historical relation between the white man and his slave. Let me read that again. He say, so America fears to approach her unarmed slave unless she is armed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what they use their military.
Mm-hmm.
They use their military, they use their weapons. They, oh my goodness. But he said this has been the historical relation between the white man and the slave. The white man seeks the leadership of the so-called Negroes to help him keep the dissatisfied slaves subject to him without complaints about injustice. The white man's motto, Nigga, you should be happy. You are better off than many of your black kind with a job.
Mm.
The white slave master brought our fathers here to do the slave work. Our free labor has made the white slave masters richer than their brethren, the Europeans. Do they offer us any of this land they took from the Indians? The 22 million so-called Negroes should be seeking some of this earth on which to live and build an independent nation out of self. The white master only offers us a job. Allah God said to Elijah Muhammad that he intends to free the American so-called Negro at any price. For 400 years, you, slave master, have been killing the so-called Negro without receiving any resistance and regardless of his peaceful way with you. We, the Muslims, have tried to live in peace here in America. There is not a single incident in our 36 years of history where we have ever made an aggressive move against you. But you have attacked us several times. We have proved to the world that you are impossible to live with in peace. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. That's in James chapter 5, verse 6. You have destroyed many towns, cities, and people, as thou have divided the so-called Negro one against the other. So Allah shall divide you and your brethren. As you have done to others, so shall it be done to thee. And when the cities are set on fire, this is a sign of the end of you as a power.
Wow.
Okay, hold on for a second. I want to show you. Let me see what I have right here. I'm going to go ahead and show you something right quick.
Okay.
We'll be out. So here is Senator John Calhoun. And he's a senator from South Carolina. And I pulled this quote from him, and basically what Senator John Calhoun said, he said slavery is a positive good. He said, compare his condition with the tenants of the poor houses in the more civilized portions of Europe. Look at the sick and the old and infirm slave on the one hand in the midst of his family and friends, under the kind, superintending care of his master and mistress, and compare it with the forlorn and wretched condition of the pauper in the poorhouse. Any thoughts on that?
So he's comparing the slave to what they have in Europe, but with the poor white folks over there, and saying that the slave, you have it better than what they got over there.
Yes.
Wow.
You say it's a positive good. Look at your life as a slave here in America and compare that to the poor people of Europe. He said, look at how the superintending care of your master and your mistress. Look how we take care of you. We give you a shack, some scruffy clothes, a job. You may not get enough to eat, but you eat every night. And your slave condition is better than the poor people of Europe. And this,
that devil, Lord have mercy.
And he said, but I take a higher ground. I hold that in the present state of civilization, where two races of different origin and distinguished by color and other physical differences as well as intellectual are brought together, the relation now existing in the slave-holding states between the two is, instead of an evil, a good, a positive good. I feel myself called upon to speak freely upon the subject where the honor and interest of those I represent are involved. I hold then that there never has yet existed a wealthy and civilized society in which one portion of the community did not, in point of fact, live on the labor of the other. Broad and general as is this assertion, it is fully borne out by history. This is not the proper occasion, but if it were, it would not be difficult to trace the various devices by which the wealth of all civilized communities has been so unequally divided, and to show by what means so small a share has been allotted to those by whose labor it was produced, and so large a share given to the non-producing classes. And this was in 1837.
Mm.
He said, this is just a part of history. You always going to have a people who are going to be exploited among you.
Mm. Mm.
He said, this is a positive good.
Wow. Wow. You know, in the supreme wisdom, it says, why do you love the devil? Because he gives you nothing. Because he gives you nothing. And what this cracker talking about that we should be happy for is nothing. You're giving us nothing. Nothing whatsoever.
But then look at his picture. Because think of the slave woman who did not control her own body.
Ugh.
And this ugly mosquito looking ass man would have been tippy-toeing his ass in the slave cabin at night, taking advantage of a black woman, a black wife, a black daughter, a black sister, a black aunt, a black grandmother. This disgusting looking individual. James Henry Hammond is somebody I want to talk about right quick before we end the show.
Okay.
James Henry Hammond, I think I forgot to order his book, but he has a book. Did I put the book on here? So James Henry Hammond, he has a book. It's actually a diary. And the information that he wrote in his diary has been released. So he was married. And okay, so he was married, and you know, back in those days when a man got married, everything that his wife owned, the man would inherit. Just like George Washington. George Washington ain't have shit. But when he married Martha, he got an automatic inheritance. So James Henry Hammond, he got a 22-acre plantation that came with 300 slaves when he married his wife. Okay. Now, based on the information that I found out about Mr. Hammond, is that he dominated his family. It was his way or no way at all.
Okay.
What's interesting about him is that he sexually violated his nieces. And when he sexually violated his nieces, it caused a scandal that wrecked his career. Okay. He also fathered multiple children by his slaves. Okay, this is the white man that you see on this screen. He's married, he's having sex with his nieces, and he's also having children by his slaves. Now, so when he was married, he took an 18-year-old slave woman as his mistress. When the daughter of that slave turned 12, he began to SA his own daughter.
Oh my.
His wife left him and took the white children with her for 5 years after she caught him having sex with the slave. Now, she didn't leave him when he had sex with the goddamn nieces. But when she caught him having sex with the slave, she was done, right?
Wow.
So, he was a United States representative from 1835 to 1836. He was the 60th governor of South Carolina from 1842 to 1844. He was also a senator from 1857 to 1860. And he was known for his mud seal theory. Now let's talk about mud seal. The mud seal theory, articulated by James Henry Hammond in an 1858 Senate speech, argues that every society requires a lower class of laborers to support a higher class. This lower class, according to Hammond, is essential for the functioning of society, similar to a mud seal supporting a house. In the context of the antebellum South, Hammond used this theory to justify slavery, arguing that enslaved people were the necessary mud seal for the Southern economy and social structure. This nasty, perverted, disgusting individual has got an opinion.
No way.
And this is his house.
Wow.
This is what slave labor built.
Wow. And is that, you said South Carolina or North Carolina?
James Hammond, I don't know where he was. I know Calhoun was South Carolina.
Okay.
James Henry Hammond, I don't even know, but they say, oh my God, the stuff that he wrote in his diary, they say he was just, he was disgusting. But he said, that's what society calls for, to have a laboring class to support the upper class. But isn't that what we're seeing with these immigrants? They feel as though they just need to be here because they're supposed to allegedly be taking jobs that Americans don't want.
Exactly.
How does that work?
Wow. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So they can't even have a society unless it has a lower class. Wow.
So, while you give your let me go to YouTube. I think it might be.
Here's another commercial.
Hold on. I think it might be open on my screen over here. I closed it, but let me open it back up over here because I want to hold on. Let me go back over here. I'm gonna go on to YouTube. Here. Just give me a minute.
We print almost.
Okay, so let me take this to YouTube because I want you to do your closing statement with something that I'm going to bring out. Okay, now Elijah on verse. This is chapter 38, verse 22. Elijah Muhammad said, when the cities are set on fire, this is a sign of the end of you as a power. And when Elijah Muhammad said that, the first thing I thought of was California. So I'm going to show my screen, but I'm going to turn the volume off on YouTube and just let it go ahead and share the screen.
Okay.
And you can go ahead and do the closing. Because Elijah Muhammad said, when you see the fire, right? When the cities are set on fire, this is a sign of the end of you as a power. Who would have thought California would have been burning like this? Who would have thought?
Exactly. Wow.
So go ahead and close us out based on tonight's reading.
All right. Perfect. All right, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. We are thankful for you all for coming and spending time with your brother and your sister. We thank y'all for watching. We thank y'all for sharing. We actually please like, share, subscribe, and pass the video out so others can get this knowledge and understand of what it is that we're doing. This is truly a labor of love. And as we see California burning, America itself will burn. Not only do you have natural wildfires, but you also have the cities going up in fire. LA right now, with the fight between the illegal and the police and the illegal and the National Guard that's coming. Unrest in America is coming. There is no fear. Trump is about to have his military parade to show all the weapons to try to inflict fear into people. Ain't nobody afraid. This is the day of their doom. This is the day that it's over for them. So as we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first. Today, tomorrow, forever. Thank you, family. Love you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings. Shalom.
So you better get the message and get it straight. You're going to need some bridge work. It's simple as that. Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.